I don't have sort of one big idea. I have one big framework. Has struck me in the last few months is that I don't think I don't think we're in the 51st year of the last 50 years. I think we're in the first year of the next 50 years. Geopolitics, populism, inequality, this is probably one of the most transformative times in history. Artificial intelligence. I think this is one of the most dynamic points in the modern era. And what strikes me about it is how employee ownership can play such a major role and be such a solution in that set. It was mentioned the Skoll Award. So we were in Oxford last week at a global conference, and the idea of employee ownership resonated in a way that we did not appreciate. I mean, Asia, Africa, the entire global South was bought into the idea of employee ownership. And then while we're on the topic, while A&H obviously was the recipient, that award is for the entire field. I mean, we're standing on work that research done by other folks, transactions done by other folks. And so by all means, congratulations to our team, but a huge congratulations for the entire field in elevating and giving more visibility to employee ownership. And so all that to say is, I think the time for employee ownership is now. We have a movement, we have a moment, and we need to capitalize on it. And so my big idea is, I think it's a great aim to try and double the number of employee owners. I would push even further. I think we need to 10x the number of employee-owned businesses in America. And so I think if you're working in this field, if you're in this room, I would challenge you to query, how do I 10x what we're doing? Because again, there's so much disruption, there's so much blue ocean that those ideas are possible. And so I don't have all of the answers for how you do that. But again, our work, for folks that don't know, we go into the market and we find companies that have never heard of ESOPs, and we help them convert to being 100% ESOP owned with a focus on low and moderate income Americans, directly trying to give working people a chance to own their businesses. But in doing that, it highlights the challenges of what it's going to take to 10x employee ownership, because we see it firsthand every single day. And challenge one is that awareness gap. Period. Owners do not understand what employee ownership is. And I hope this is not controversial. I think a lot of effort in the past the storytelling has been around the worker. And I think we need to move some of that storytelling to the owner. Because we can talk till we're blue in the face about how great it is to be an employee at an employee-owned business. But if we can't get business owners to want to do this transaction, it's all for naught. And so I think the expanding ESOPs effort that's bringing owner stories to light is huge. I think EOX, where I'm fortunate enough to be on the board, that's taking the message straight to owners, is huge. We need to push outside of the field to go to those owners, look at new media, look at podcasts, find the campaign that will work. We need to get owners to buy into this. And I think we also need to get owners to buy into this, not because it's the right thing to do, but because it is the smart thing to do for their business. Full stop, period. It is a better run business. The data shows that. All the CEOs here know that. That's the story we need to get out there. Two, it was just said, these transactions are super complex, like super complex. When we're dealing with the owner, they think they're signing up for an M&A transaction, and then we bring in this entire whole thing for employee ownership. Again, I know all the lawyers and the consultants and the trustees are like, I don't know if it's a policy answer. I'm sure there's people in the room working on that, but it's even just an education and awareness gap. if we can just talk about what it takes to do this transaction more visibly, that's huge. Even if we could say like, hey, here's a template term sheet. That's huge. Oh, here's a template purchase agreement. Here's a template ESOP plan. Again, I know that they're all customized, they're all unique, but 50, 60, 70%'s gotta be within a range that we can try and standardize. And that would significantly open up the aperture for more ESOPs. Third, capital. And this is where we spend all of our time. I think a few things about the capital point. Number one, this week, every business owner in America has tried to figure out how they can drop their cost. It happens that employee ownership does that in a real way. So even if we could say, look, how do we get every business owner to think themselves, I want to do a minority ESOP? It doesn't have to be 100%. If we can get you to do 30% ESOP, you'll probably get to 100% eventually. And 30%, 40%, that's the range where a bank will provide the senior capital. That's the range where you might be able to go to the SBA and get, I know it caps at 5 million, but it's something for the right size business. So I think bringing the minority ESOP component into the conversation is a huge way to get more people just engaged. But again, it has to be simplified and it has to have the ROI for the business owner. And that ROI is we're going to reduce your tax burden, we're going to engage your employees, we're going to give you more productivity, we're going to give you more retention. It's clear, like that is what we pitch. And then on the capital side, what is fascinating about our work is that we've taken employee ownership to the capital markets. And I'm here to tell you, they are receptive. Private equity is challenging. Debt markets are challenging. Public markets are challenging. Employee ownership gives folks a way to, they can see the alpha creation. Like everyone can get that if the employees are bought into a business, it's gonna do better. And so it's clear. That story, that narrative of just, again, ROI for the capital markets will bring capital into the space that will enable even deeper employee ownership. So if you want to go beyond 30%, you want to go 100%, we can do that. And so those are 3 ideas. My biggest thing with all of that is I think the field has the answers, but with all of that, we can't compromise our values. So we always have to keep the worker front and center, our values front and center, and make sure that we do it in a way that can do for everybody. Thanks so much.